I want to say hello to my YouTube family, my Facebook family, my Instagram family. I just want to say welcome. How are you doing tonight? Robin, my partner, who usually does these talks with me, she has a project and she is away today, but she'll be back next week. And then next week, I'm hoping very much you will join us again, and we're going to talk about spirit guides. And I would love to hear just where you're from. Give me an idea if you're a professional healer, because I'm really am interested in everything everyone does. And now that I would say the healing community is growing. There's a lot of people who are tired of traditional medicine and they're looking for alternative healing. So tonight, for those who do not know me, I am a certified reflexologist, as I mentioned. I'm also a certified energy medicine practitioner, a Reiki master teacher. I own both the Healing Place Energy School and the Healing Place in Medfield, Massachusetts. And I've written 2 books. See it, check it out. Know Your Chakras, Introduction to Energy Medicine, and Foot Reflexology to Promote Relaxation. And how did I come about doing the work that I've done? Well, I started my work back in 2006. Hello, Sanders. And how did I come onto this journey? Well, it was my first step of my spiritual journey probably began back, I would say, in my 20s. I'm now in my 60s. So I've been on this journey for 40 years. And I have learned so much about healing work unfortunately, I have a son who was very ill way back when he was young. And the only thing that the doctors gave us back then was, what medication do you want to try? So I decided, after 10 years of helping him physically, emotionally, spiritually, I decided to take this knowledge and open the Healing Place in 2006. And to this date, I've probably given 13,000 healing sessions. And since I'm only could see so many people at my office, I decided, you know what? I'm going to take this globally because the universe, spirit guides have urged me to take this step and share my knowledge with everybody. So for those people who've been following me for the last 14 years, probably said she's rather passionate about what she does. And the reason why is because I teach how not to give away your healing powers to somebody else. I'm not saying there isn't a place for traditional medicine, but traditional medicine is not the end all to everything. I think you agree. So as a reflexologist, when I first started this, I decided to focus only on reflexology, but I decided to spin it to include Reiki, just general energy healing. What else? Wellness, spirit guides, angels, because I do a lot of things in my office that goes outside of reflexology. So I want to answer any questions that you might have about energy healing. So let's start off with the Gel Project. Hello, the Gel Project. Interesting name, and DSR. So feel free to ask me questions, because now that I have crossed the line, I could talk like an old lady and I could talk for a really, really long time. What is energy healing? Energy healing is really tapping into your own ability to self-heal. I remember as a kid when I didn't want to go to school. I want you all to think about this. When I didn't want to go to school, I would actually make myself become sick. And I'm thinking to myself, there I am, I would bring on a fever. There was just things about school that I didn't like when I was really young, and I would avoid it. And then for those people might see this in your children to retaliate. And what you manifested in your body is real symptoms of sickness. Yes, because everybody, as I mentioned, has defective DNA within us. and what activate there's sickness. Like for example, in my family, there's diabetes and thyroid condition that runs through my whole entire family. And one of the things of all my brothers and sisters, of four of us have diabetes problems. I am the only one that does not. And I remember my brother used to say to me, well, Helen, there's a good chance that you're going to become a diabetic. And I said to him at the time, I said, no, I won't. And he says, what makes you so sure? Because I know what's running through my body. And anybody who has diabetes, is your pancreas is overworking to break down the sugars in your body to become food. So you're producing way too much insulin, and the insulin, unfortunately, has gone haywire. So that's the physical aspect. The energy aspect of pancreas is sweetness. What is the sweetness in your life? Do you feel like you have sweetness? And when I work with people with pancreas issues, I always ask them what is going on in their lives when it happened. Lily Mena, welcome. So it's not just pancreas, people who have respiratory issues, throat issues. I always ask what is going on in your life that activated this DNA. So as people think about what is going on, they could tell me exactly. They probably had a difficult time in their family. Perhaps they're in the middle of a divorce, or a parent, a child is dying. So that energy gets built up within us. It gets built up. And this is one of the things I talk about in my book, Know Your Chakras, is how to let go of built up energy so the energy can flow. So if your energy is moving through your chakras, we have 7 main chakras in our body. From the first chakra is about your home, your everyday needs. Your second chakra, right underneath your belly button, is about your emotions. How do you actually feel about the experience? Because a lot of us, when something gets really hard, we ignore what's going on and we shut down. So think about where you are when you get really stressed, or what is your survival mechanism. Your third chakra is right underneath your rib cage. It's about self-esteem. Self-esteem is about, do you feel good about what you're doing? And now with the pandemic, there's a lot of fear that's going on that's really shaking up the chakras, where the energy is really chaotic like this. Then we're going to go to the heart chakra. It's not only about the love you have for others. What about the love you have for you? Yeah, you got to love yourself, especially when you're about to shift and you want to take the next step of your spiritual journey, but you're stuck. And that's what the first step of your spiritual journey, in fact, is a course, 15-part course I just created. It's learning how to awaken your spirit and be the person you meant to be. So your heart chakra, and then your throat chakra, it's all about, can you speak your truth? Unfortunately, in our society, spoken truth is not encouraged. In fact, they'll tell you to be quiet before you could speak up. So think about how that's affected in your life, especially if you grow up in a dysfunctional family and you are not allowed to talk. And then let's go to the third eye. This is about your intuition. Everybody, I don't care who you are, we all have intuitive ability. But because we have not been taught to trust the source, think about how you will shut down your feelings because it's something that's outside of your comfort zone. And then come up to your crown chakra. Crown chakra is about being connected to the universe, to God, whoever you talk to the other side of the fence. Yeah, it is kind of like a fence, or the veil. Some people call it a veil. I call it the fence. And if your energy is flowing, literally flowing, it flows like a tunnel that goes up and down. So, for example, yes, you have the front of your chakra. This is a good question Sandra's asking me. So, your chakras is the front of your chakras and the back. The front chakras is about your emotions, and the back of your chakra is about your will. So, depending on what type of person you are, if you're fairly emotional, usually what that tells me, your back of your chakra, the will, is very small. If you operate from your will, uh, good example, narcissistic people who think that the world revolves around them, or the enforcer might have a little bit more of a way that they could see your perspective somewhat. But usually a narcissistic person will shut down and say, it's my world. It's only my world. It's only my view. So they operate from their back of their chakras, and then the front of their chakras, there's nothing because they have no heart. So this is really important, is your chakras. I wish I had my picture. I would go through my mess right now over there. I did not know what the heck I was going to talk about, because my spirit guides are really, they're downloaded information for me to talk about. For those who have been with me, I do these talks live. I have absolutely no script. So whatever my spirit guides want me to share, and I'm basically, what I do is feel your energy, and then I make a talk. Isn't that kind of cool? In fact, this is how I work with the people in my office. I work with everyone in such a different way that I have no idea what to expect. Well, there's Andrea, my buddy. Okay, Andrea says, I found out yesterday my my spine is unstable and want to do surgery and to put screws into it. Oh man, screws in the spine. All right, so what does that mean? Screws in the spine. How do you feel? I usually ask the positive, then I ask the negative. But usually with the spine, it's about supporting the body. It holds your body up, because if you don't have a spine, you're going to collapse. So how do you not feel supported in your life? So that's something I'm going to ask you. Does that make sense, Andrea? So if you have family or a spouse or work that doesn't support you, and you feel like, I want to say the S word, so you can fill in the rest. If you feel unsupported, your spine is going to go. Okay, so what I would suggest, Andrea, is instead of looking for validation, excuse me, my puppies are like woofing. I'm going to boot their butts. Okay, hang on. Okay. One thing about heart center people, they're looking for validation outside of themselves. And this is something I talk about in first step of your spiritual journey, is about your spiritual DNA and your soul contract. We have a soul contract with not just with the universe, but with ourselves. And these soul contracts is from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. So every single time you contract to come back to live another life, you ask yourself, what is it that I'm supposed to learn in this lifetime? And what you struggle with, unfortunately, which really sucks, that's your lesson. That's just your life lesson. And I know what my life lesson is. It's all about compassion and having empathy. So one of the things about being, I'm first generation Chinese. And one thing about the Asian culture, especially the Chinese that I'm familiar with, we're very regimented and very structured. And we're like worker bees. So we have families, especially if you're from the old country, we have family, not because we love to have children and grow our family. It's because we need more worker bees, just like bees in a beehive. We need more workers. So we serve a function. We serve a function. So, and if you feel unloved, Andrea, like in this case, what I'm going to suggest that you do, first of all, I have people make a list. I give people my clients who come to me and also my books that I always write homework. And in order to understand where you want to go, you've got to know where you are today. Yes, because as much as you want to grow, you got to focus what is here in this minute. Does that make sense to everybody? Because if you don't know where your feet are, you will not know where your future is. So you're going to keep walking and you pray something is going to ignite your passion. So Andrea, okay, they want me to do physical therapy. Yes, I am in agreement with physical therapy. That's the physical aspect. But you need, in order to heal completely, you need also the emotional. And how do you connect to yourself spiritually, to your soul? And if you are in denial of what's going on in your life because it's so freaking painful, what you probably have noticed, Andrea, the cycle repeats over and over again. So one of the things I had to do on this journey, I was hoping not to be a healer again. And I know I've been a healer many times over from lifetime to lifetime because healing work comes very easy to me. In fact, I don't even think anything about it. And when I took my first step to my spiritual journey, I had to find a way to break the pain cycle. And how? The number one rule is you got to do something different today. If you're waiting, this is something I talk about in my book, Know Your Chakra. If you are waiting for that white knight to come and save you, I'm going to guarantee you that's not going to happen. Who's going to save you is you. I really want to empower you to believe, to be the very best. I call it lighthouses. What's a lighthouse? We all know a lighthouse, it shines its light to show boats where to come in so that it doesn't crash on the rocks. I want you to shine your light that will not only touch you to shift, to transform, but this is going to touch everyone in your life, including your family, your loved ones. But you've got to take the step. You've got to take the step. The only way you can grow is only through your pain. And I did this with my son for 10 years. I couldn't figure out what was wrong. But I'm the kind of person, I'm not going to take what you tell me face value. I've had to learn it myself. So empowerment. Empowerment is not being afraid to do something different every single day. Because one thing about comfort, being comfortable, you don't grow from being comfortable. I'm sorry. Think about it. Everything that you probably have learned from is from pain. Why? Why have we chosen to live such a painful life? The road to enlightenment sometimes sucks, all right? It really does. It sucks. And I've begun my awakening process in this life. And that's something that I really talk about in the first step of your spiritual journey. In fact, I teach what does it look like. Okay, I recently flipped for reflexology because my arch has always been sensitive. And now they're less sensitive, but after a few days without reflexology, my arches get a little sensitive on their own. What's that about? Okay, I'm going to come back to this, but let me finish this thought because I only have a few more minutes that I want to talk about energy work. Uh, in fact, I forgot what I was talking about. Can somebody remind me Janie, what was I talking about? I've lost my train of thought about healing work and empowerment. Oh yeah, I was talking about lighthouses. We need to shine our light. And the only way we could do this is by growing our energetic muscles. Yeah, energetic muscles, and take that step forward, because there isn't anybody, there isn't anybody who judge us. Yeah, we judge ourselves. It's not the other people who's judging us and we're afraid of their gossip, but more what we end up doing is punishing ourselves because we don't think we're worthy. We don't think somebody's out there we could give worthy advice. In fact, when I started my business 14 years ago, I was really insecure. Uh, I I knew I had intuition ability, but I was thinking, okay, I have intuition. I just finished reflexology school. I used to really believe who would pay to come see me. 14 years later, I'm like, man, who wouldn't come to see me today? That's how confident I am, because in order to grow, confidence is practice. You got to practice confidence. It's a skill. Like any other skill that you ever had, you got to practice confidence every day. Does it sound cocky? Does it sound arrogant? Yes, it does. And I want you to be proud of it. Because if you don't put yourself first, in fact, this is what I was writing about for my first step of your spiritual journey. I started to write, okay, you know what? I'm going to read it to you. Okay. When was the last time you looked at yourself? Really look at yourself and give yourself some appreciation. You probably not at all. One of the hardest lessons I had to learn when I was in energy school. Okay, here's a homework assignment, everybody. I want you to stand in the front of the mirror, not just brushing your hair, not just brushing your teeth, putting makeup on. I want you to look at yourself. I want you to ask the person, how are you doing? And really look at her or him. And I want you to give yourself some appreciation of what you do. This is really important because we have been of service for so many years to others. Where do we fit in our own list? Are we human on that list? I really want you to think about it, you know? And this is something, if you practice self-love, like Mr. Sanders said, you could overcome just about any obstacle. Why? If you treat yourself like you are your own best friend, you wouldn't let people talk you down, treat you poorly, and make fun of you, make fun of you and tell you why you're nothing but the S word. You have to believe you are worthy. This is what I wrote. Yuma, are you worth your own time? Are you worth doing things for yourself? Are you worth making an investment and really learning more about your energy and who you are? This is a part of the painful journey of taking that first step of your spiritual journey. When God told me that, this is a story I love to tell people. I have a big meeting with God on January 1st every year. We do a big, what I call big picture for the whole year. And I remember the year he asked me, are you ready? And I go, ready for what? He asked me, are you ready to be seen? Are you ready to be heard? And I said, oh man, this is not good. And his assignment was, I want you to talk to people globally. And here I am, the kid from Boston. Well, not so much of a kid. And I have a Chinese Bostonian accent for those people who are curious about my accent. And I did not write particularly well. And I said, I could do this work if you help me. And from, I think, 7 years ago, I decided to take that step of courage and take another step, the fourth or fifth step to my spiritual journey and evolve. That's where the school came from, the HELEN Place Energy School. And now here I am teaching globally and sharing knowledge. Isn't that a really cool story? Plus, I really believe everyone is capable of this. The only reason how I stand out next to somebody who's thinking about doing this work, I didn't listen to anybody, and I didn't let anyone discourage me, because too many people have built their energy foundation on very weak sand. So if somebody says no, all of a sudden you go into doubts and fears. And this is where I help people who are beginning their first step of their spirituality, how to overcome the fears and doubts. Am I fearful and doubtful today? Yes, I am. I'm going to say it like this, I still poop in my pants. I still do. The only difference between me and you can't tell that I'm really nervous. In fact, every time I do these broadcasts, I'm still very, very nervous. So that's the difference between wishing you could take a step and actually taking a step. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? All right. I promised Izzy, I'm going to take a sip. I'm going to show you the arch support, and I'm going to end with a positive note. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a sip. My throat's dry. Good. Okay, here we go. At least I got my Reflexology foot model out. Okay, the arches. Okay, arches is on the bottom of the feet. The arches, like the spine, is about support, because your spine, okay, here we go. It's along the edge of the foot, inside of the foot. This is called the medial side. There's your right side of the spine and the left. And what happens is here, there's 4 sets of ligaments that goes this way. And then there's 2 sets of ligaments going this way. I want you to imagine your arch. Your arch is like a suspension bridge. And you have those cables holding up the bridge, right? Everyone sees that. So what happens? How does it break? What I've seen in my office is mostly people wearing really poor shoes with no arch support. If you have flat feet, you have to get some kind of orthotics. You don't have to get the real expensive one, but you need something for the arch, all right? I've seen people actually take tape and tape their foot around. You could do it with some kind of ace bandage that won't be too bulky. That's one way of supporting the arch. Here, another thing you could do, this is also the beginner of plantar fasciitis. What's really important when I see people with foot problems, it's not fun. The people usually scream a little. I won't say they scream a lot, but they do scream a little. What happens with the arches, especially with the fascia, a fascia holds everything together in your body. In fact, there's a fascia around every single organ and gland. It holds your organs and glands up and tight together. I would take lotion. You're just going to imagine I have lotion. Oh, by the way, I sell these in my store, these foot reflexology feet. I think they're really wonderful for those people who need a visual. So you're going to take lotion, and I'm going to turn my back so you can see what I'm doing. and you're going to thumb slide all the way up. You're going to really be forceful. You might end up putting 10 to 15 pounds of pressure. This is what you have to do to break up the fascia. Because what happens with the fascia, as you're sliding in between, you're going to slide from the base like this. Everybody see this, the base? All the way up to the toes. And you're going to do it all 5 zones. Each toe is a zone. So you imagine from the top all the way down. And you're going to do it in between every single toe. Does everybody get that? And then, because you want the fascia to loosen up, because what happens when the fascia gets tight, over time, it does not heal. And when it doesn't heal, what fills in the tears of the fascia is bone. And anybody who has bone spurs, I don't have to tell you how painful that is. All right? So wearing good shoes is key. If you wear shoes that flip-flop, where your feet is doing this, and I'm watching those flip-flops, I could almost guarantee that person, eventually they will have plantar fasciitis. So that's my reflexology tip for asking the reflexologist. Anyways, I hope you got something out of this session today. And I want you to, in order to broadcast your lighthouse and touch everybody, because you are meant to shine, I want you to do something that is different, something that is positive. You can even do it for somebody else, or you better yet, do it something for you. Go out of your comfort zone. If you're not a spender, buy something. If you're cramming your time with too much to do, take some time off, all right? Remember my philosophy, and that came from my buddy Annie. You spend 1 hour a day for yourself, 1 day a week for yourself, 1 week a year just for you. All right, honey? And I really appreciate your time. And I'm going to be back with Robin next Tuesday. And we're going to talk more about spirit guides and how to connect with them, how to hear them. If there's anything you'd like to hear, please put it in the box. Give me a like, give me a follow. And most importantly, go to my school. You can sign up for my newsletter. I do a whole bunch of things. I have a lot of what I call kick butt courses that will help you to open up and awaken the healer within you. Bye-bye. Be well. And now I'm going to go get dinner because I'm hungry. Bye-bye.